let's talk about prelims preparation. एक बात हुई, who should be preparing. Now, prelims preparation में what are the key things that we need to emphasize upon, we need to focus upon. देखो, in the entire if we consider the 3 stages of civil services examination, the most detailed study that we have to do, or most wide study that we have to do for preliminary examination. The reason being, there is no well-defined syllabus here. If you go to mains, you have syllabus very well specified. Agar aap, जैसे I teach GS3. If I look at GS3, you go to syllabus of agriculture sector. There, they have mentioned everything. Agri marketing and issues associated, food processing industries and associated issues. They have e-technology in the aid of farmers, but something like that is not mentioned for preliminary examination. And thus, it becomes very difficult to identify what are the things that we should be focused on, what are the things that we can ignore. So one thing that students end up doing is they end up in the absence of detailed proper syllabus being provided for, they end up reading this material or that material, this current affairs magazine, that current affairs magazine, this YouTuber giving you a 7-day strategy to finish the entire history or the entire geography or entire polity. We keep on running behind those things rather than focusing on basics. But in my experience, I've been teaching since last 8 years now. In my experience, the most important thing that you should prioritize is the basics. Isko, like if for each of the subjects, history, geography, polity, economy, science, environment, history maybe history and modern India and art and culture could be segregated, could be separated. Could be segregated, could be separated. In सबके ना focus on basic areas, not on value addition first. I see sometimes students market से कुछ summary ले आएंगे modern India की, उसे पढ़ रहे हैं rather than actually going through NCERT first. Or I'll see students spending a lot of time on current affairs of economy rather than understanding fundamentals first. और वो ना बहुत disastrous है. I'll tell you, some of the students will also tell this about me to you कि I have when I give feedback to students about how their performance in preliminary examination should improve, I first go through their attempted paper. Like if someone comes to me, sir, I haven't cleared prelims 2024 and I want your feedback. So rather than just talking to him, I look at what he did, what he attempted, where he failed in the sense, which are the questions he made wrong, which are the questions he made right. And in that analysis, so abhi tak, like I haven't been able to go through papers of many students. This year I've done it for 20-25 students, but now I'll be doing it for more students as I have some more time. One thing that I have noticed very clearly is students who are not clearing preliminary examinations are the students who are not good at the basics, things which are given in every standard book. They don't know that, and they have studied some value addition magazines or some they've watched YouTube video of like marathon video or some done things like that, but have not completed one standard basic source. In the second stage, what more to do? It will be decided by PYQs. देखिए, अगर आप डीडी बसु कर रहे हैं पॉलिटी के लिए, अगर आप लक्ष्मीकांत कर रहे हैं पॉलिटी के लिए, any one of them, or you may be following some other sources, there may be some other books. जैसे for example, you may be just going through your class notes. आप GS फाउंडेशन कोर्स में होंगे कहीं और कोई बहुत अच्छा टीचर सिस्टमैटिकली पढ़ा रहा होगा, या just going through a class notes. That may be your standard source. Fine. उसके बाद क्या करना है? उसके बाद go through PYQs and ensure that you are in a position to answer all the PYQs for subjects like history. Last 30-40 years के भी PYQs देखो ना, क्या problem है? Those things would not change. go through those PYQs and any value addition that has to be made in case of, let's say, polity की बात कर रहे हैं. Polity में there will be two kinds of PYQs. One will be current affairs based. Ignore them. They're not relevant. They're not important. Current affairs of this year may be relevant and ये बहुत useful होता भी नहीं है. Other is fundamental concept based PYQ. Meaning of republic, fundamental rights, DPSPs, parliamentary procedures, emergency related provisions, and all those kind of things. Ensure that you have done a standard source. Now, this standard source can be your class notes also. Please do not assume that I'm recommending you these books. No. Standard source can be a class notes also. For example, अगर कोई art and culture पढ़ रहा है और निखिल सर से पढ़ा है, the notes that he provides is in itself like more than everything that you will need. He ensures that NCERT is a relevant portion, बाकी standard books are relevant portion is there. So your class notes can be your standard source, your or the first source that you want to cover, or any standard book can be the first source that you want to cover. So you go through this and then come to PYQs. Now, how do we do PYQs? How do we do PYQs? They say get a PYQ book which has questions segregated, yearly topic wise segregation hai. And when you are studying, let's say, a fundamental rights wala chapter from D.D. Basu, from Lakshmikant, or from your class notes, go through that chapter and try to solve those PYQs. If you're not able to solve, suppose एक question आता है और आपको you are guessing its answer wrong, you're marking its answer wrong, go back to your notes, see, try to read your notes again for only for that section, for that small section. Either that concept is not there, that fact is not there, which amendment led to this change in the constitution, it's not there, add it in your standard source. It may be your class notes, it may be this book, add it there. Or this is what you should be doing. In this way, ensure that your standard source plus your PYQs, your standard source now has the content, or you have added it with content which can ensure that you can solve all the PYQs. Fine. सबसे पहले अपनी प्रिपरेशन में ये करना है, do not start running behind. ये कोर्स, वो कोर्स, ये वैल्यू एडिशन, वो वैल्यू एडिशन, नो, बिल्कुल नहीं. Students don't clear the exam just because they keep on running behind 10 different things rather than covering one thing properly, doing value addition with PYQ and revising it again. Revision will be very important. Revision will be very crucial. We'll talk about that. Okay, the first thing should be this, your standard source. That it can be anything. Please understand. देखो, when it comes to things like science and technology, मैं अपने बच्चों को बोलता हूं कि यार कोई स्टैंडर्ड सोर्स अवेलेबल नहीं है, आई विल प्रोवाइड यू एवरीथिंग दैट इज नीडेड फॉर प्रिपरेशन. ऐसे ही निखिल सर, व्हेन इट कम्स टू हिस्ट्री, ही सेज दैट द आर्ट एंड कल्चर, एंशिएंट मिडिवल कल्चर के जो पोर्शन बुक्स हैं, those are very bulky and have too much, like the books don't have proper flow and students find it very difficult to understand. So we provide those things in classes only. When we are analyzing PYQs for different subjects, or when we are going through PYQs and ensuring that the value addition that we make in our standard source is on the basis of the PYQs that we are not able to answer, there has to be something that you there has to be a certain understanding. That is, not every PYQ will be relevant. Like for history, every PYQ may be relevant. For geography, almost every PYQ will be relevant. For geography mapping also, almost everything could be relevant. But when it comes to science and tech, अब science and tech में 2018 में the questions which have been asked, 2007 में the questions which have been asked, some of those questions may not be relevant at all and thus don't spend time on it. 2007 में GSAT कोई launch हुआ होगा, कोई PSLV गया होगा. We do not have to worry about those satellites, those PSLV rockets. In the same way, in 2007, some act may have come, and in what do you call it, the environment, biodiversity and climate change में वो act discuss हो रहा होगा. हमें वो नहीं करना है. तो PYQ को analyze करने का भी will have to do it very selectively. Ensure that you're realizing ये तो basic concept है. This is a basic concept. This I should for sure understand. This kind of question I should for sure answer. This question is about a scheme which was launched in 2000. तो इसीलिए 2002 में पूछा हुआ है, 2003 में पूछा हुआ है. I do not have to worry about those schemes, those aspects in a lot of detail. Okay, I hope you get this aspect. Now, इसमें आता है अब करंट अफेयर्स. देखो, करंट अफेयर्स ना बहुत ही it can be something which can help in your preparation, or it can be something which can take you in the wrong direction. I'll tell you an example. I was looking at current affairs compilation for mains examination this year. मैं बच्चों को GS3 पढ़ाता हूं, तो मैं इकोनॉमी के current affairs compilation देख रहा था मेंस के लिए. Right before mains examination, to ensure that my students do not have not missed anything in classes. What I found was most of these magazines, most of these current affairs magazines, they have been compiled by students or someone who do not have teaching experience, and thus have like 80% of the content was irrelevant. जो कभी यूपीएससी पूछ ही नहीं सकता है, जो सिलेबस में है ही नहीं. 80% of content was that. And that is why what happens is, when you start relying on those current affairs magazines as such, you end up spending a lot of your effort and time on things which are not needed for examination. So, another thing is doing current affairs very selectively. I'm not recommending any program, any course as such, but क्योंकि current affairs compilation is not being done by teachers. Here at LevelUp IAS, I do all the work myself, but in general, the compilations that happen, no teacher comes and says कि मैंने बनाया है पूरा. It has been done by a huge team of people who are doing different things. उनको अपने एक पेज का कंटेंट, दो पेज का कंटेंट देना है, उसके बेसिस पे पेमेंट मिलना है, and they just compile things without actually analyzing what has happened over the last 10 years or the last 20 years in examination, without analyzing PYQs, without analyzing syllabus properly. कुछ न्यूज में चल रहा है बहुत बड़ा सा, पढ़ा दो, उसके डिटेल में चले जाओ. That becomes a problem. So you jump on current affairs only after doing these things, so that you understand. आप न्यूज़पेपर तो आप रोज रीड करेंगे ही for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. But if you are doing some current affairs magazine, do it only after doing these two things, so that you will be able to determine क्या important है, क्या नहीं है. When you have gone through PYQs, you understand what is the extent to which what is the depth to which depth in which a scheme can be asked. अब आप एक स्कीम में there are 10 different data, and I see students cramming those data or going through that data again and again. In the magazines, this data is there, and students spend a lot of time, students waste a lot of time because of that. But once you have analyzed these two things, once you know, once you have done with your basic preparation, once you're done with PYQs, anyways your 80% preparation is done. 20% preparation may happen because of current affairs. उसमें भी if you are done with first two part, and if you do it selectively, in less time you'll be able to cover this aspect in a more effective manner. Okay, so these are the three things that we need to focus upon in order to ensure systematic preparation.